Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something truly epic. We're tracing the vast cosmic journey of the individual soul according to Hindu philosophy. And we're going to break down this incredibly rich tradition into a clear, really fascinating narrative.
But before we dive into the granular details, I want you to think about a truly massive question. Honestly, what is the ultimate goal of human life? The answer to this question forms the absolute foundation of our entire journey today. Everything we are about to cover, every action, every text, every deity, it's all part of a framework designed to help the soul answer this exact question and reach its final destination. So, to understand this vast cosmic operating system, we're going to follow a 5-part roadmap. The ultimate reality, 4 goals of life, the sacred scriptures, the Hindu Trinity, and paths to liberation. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The ultimate reality.
So while we commonly use the word Hinduism, the tradition is actually traditionally called sanatan dharma. That basically translates to the eternal dharma or eternal order. It's not just a set of beliefs, it's kind of the underlying fabric of reality itself, a massive, comprehensive system governing cosmic order, ethics, and our daily duties.
Now, here is where our relationship with the divine gets really fascinating. On one hand, you have Brahman, the ultimate, completely formless supreme reality. And on the other, you have the Atman, the individual soul residing within beings. But the twist? The absolute game changer here is that the Atman isn't actually separate from Brahman. It's literally a piece of that supreme reality residing right inside you. It's like you're a drop of water in an infinite cosmic ocean.
Section 2. 4 goals of life.
All right, so a crucial point to understand is that human life is highly structured around 4 proper aims, known as the Purushotharthas. This system is incredibly practical. It doesn't tell you to just ignore the physical world. Instead, it teaches you how to balance it. You have Artha, which is the pursuit of prosperity and an honest livelihood. Then there's Kama, the pursuit of love, aesthetic pleasure, and healthy desires. But, and this is a big but, these 2 absolutely must be grounded in Dharma, meaning your ethics and righteous duties. Balance all 3 of those, and they ultimately lead you to the 4th and final goal, moksha, which is complete spiritual liberation from passions and the cycle of rebirth.
So how does our soul actually navigate those 4 goals? Well, it all comes down to karma. We've all heard the word, right? It's the universal law of cause and effect. Good deeds yield positive outcomes, bad actions lead to suffering. And this engine of karma is literally what drives samsara, our continuous, ongoing cycle of death and rebirth. Basically, as long as we keep accumulating karma, our Atman just keeps moving from body to body.
Which begs the question, how do we actually generate this karma? Well, there are 2 entirely different ways to act in this world. First, you have sakam karma. These are ego-driven actions for some kind of material reward. A promotion, wealth, or just praise. On the flip side, you have nishkam karma. These are pure, selfless actions done as a duty for God, where you do the right thing simply because it's right, without expecting a single thing in return. And let me tell you, that selfless action, that is the absolute key to untangling ourselves from samsara.
Moving on to Section 3. The sacred scriptures. The maps for this spiritual journey are undeniably vast, but thankfully, they're logically split into 2 major categories. First up is Shruti, which translates to that which is heard. This is considered the absolute revealed knowledge heard directly by ancient sages. Then you have Smriti, meaning that which is remembered. These are your traditional epics, historical texts, and the grand stories passed down through generations.
If we look closely at that Shruti category, we find the deeply philosophical Upanishads and the 4 foundational Vedas. To give you a sense of just how massive these are, the Rig Veda is the oldest text, packing in 1,028 ancient hymns. Then the Yajurveda provides specific instructions for sacrifices. The Samaveda takes those sacred hymns and beautifully sets them to music. And finally, the Atharvaveda brings the divine into the day-to-day, containing spells and formulas for everyday living.
On the other side of things, the Smriti guidebooks take those high-level philosophies and transform them into incredibly relatable epic stories. You have the Ramayana and the Puranas, and of course, the Mahabharata, an epic so massive it's roughly 10 times the length of the Iliad and the Odyssey combined. It's actually within this colossal text that we find the famous Bhagavad Gita, which is this profound dialogue where Lord Krishna counsels Prince Arjuna on the battlefield about duty, karma, and liberation.
That brings us to Section 4, the Hindu Trinity.
Now, because the human mind really struggles to wrap itself around a completely formless reality, like Brahman, there's a fascinating workaround. Brahman uses a divine power called Maya. And through this Maya, that ultimate reality is able to assume various physical forms. It manifests into personified deities that we can actually comprehend, relate to, and worship.
This divine manifestation is what forms the Trimurti, or the Hindu Trinity. And it's not just a random list of gods. It acts as a continuous, chronological cycle of existence. Step 1. Brahma creates the universe. Step 2. Vishnu preserves it. And step 3. Shiva dissolves it. But here's a really important distinction. In this framework, dissolution is absolutely not a bad thing. It's a positive, necessary force that clears the way for spiritual renewal.
The symbolism baked into these deities is just staggering. Brahma has 4 faces representing the Vedas, a water pot, and rides a swan representing intellect. Vishnu is tied to the water element and descends to earth in 10 avatars, like Rama and Krishna, whenever cosmic dharma needs restoring. And Shiva? He represents the fire element, literally clearing out our negative traits to make room for our souls to evolve.
Because these manifestations are so incredibly vivid, major denominations have naturally formed over the millennia. You have Shaivism, which focuses worship on Shiva. Vaishnavism worships Vishnu. Shaktiism centers on the powerful divine feminine, the goddess or Devi. And then you have Smartism, a path that actually worships multiple deities equally, seeing them all as valid reflections of that one supreme Brahman.
And finally, Section 5, Paths to Liberation. You see, liberation isn't just some abstract thought experiment. It's something actively pursued every single day. It happens quietly through puja, which is worship, and dhyana, deep meditation. But it also happens loudly. It happens in the community through unbelievably vibrant celebrations like Diwali, the Festival of Lights, and Holi, the incredibly energetic Festival of Colors.
But to really accelerate the soul's journey, the scriptures provide core spiritual disciplines known as yogas. And we aren't just talking about physical stretching here. These are distinct, disciplined paths to freedom. You have karma yoga, the path of selfless right actions. There's bhakti yoga, for those whose hearts overflow with loving devotion to God. And you have jnana yoga, the philosopher's path of deep wisdom and intellectual inquiry.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question. This tradition warmly acknowledges that we're all wired differently. So based on your own unique personality and how you view the world, which yoga, karma for action, bhakti for devotion, or jnana for wisdom, aligns best with your own soul's journey? Definitely something to chew on. Thanks so much for exploring this amazing cosmic roadmap with us today. Keep learning and keep questioning.